The Royal Commission investigating abuse in care has heard a disabled man who grew up in a raft of institutions was stripped of his human rights and led to believe that his life didn't matter. The inquiry investigating abuse in state and faith-based care is hearing evidence from abuse survivors, their advocates and researchers at a 2-week hearing in Auckland. Today it heard from the first person with a learning disability to be elected to the United Nations Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Katie Scotcher is there.
Robert Martin spent his childhood moving between foster homes, institutions and psychiatric hospitals. He told the inquiry as a child he missed out on many things people take for granted: birthday parties, feeding ducks and having a pet.
Many children have a cat to cuddle and call their own. Children in institutions do not. I adopted cats and made them my friends, but when I was moved, I lost that friend. Children raised in institutions learn that good times don't last, and people and pets come and go.
In 1957, after Robert was born, his mother's doctor told her to send him away and forget him because his brain was damaged at birth. At 18 months old, he was taken to the Kimberley Centre, a home for people with learning disabilities in Levin. He told the inquiry toddlers there weren't cuddled or loved, they were just a number.
I missed my family. I cried for them. I wanted them to come and take me home, but they did not come. So in the end, I gave up crying for them.
Robert moved back home briefly, but was soon placed back in care, which is where he would stay. He was passed between institutions, but spent most of his childhood at the Kimberley Centre. He told the inquiry children there were neglected and had no human rights.
I personally had nothing and no one. I learnt that I was nobody and my life didn't really matter.
Robert Martin was one of 40 disabled children in the dorm, all stripped of their personal identity. They shared clothes and underwear.
Some people stayed on the floor all day, walking back and forth, especially people with the highest needs. There were so many of them, they were just left on the ground. If someone had had an accident and saw themselves, they were just left in their dirty clothes.
In his teenage years, Mr Martin spent time at Otago's Campbell Park estate and at Lake Alice Hospital in the Manawatu. He endured physical and sexual violence at both. He told the inquiry this was allowed to happen as the institutions were largely left uncontrolled.
Institutions are often away from towns and cities, out of sight, out of mind, so things happen to people and no one notices what's going on. Anything and everything could go on and usually did.
Mr Martin was 15 when he was released from state care and moved to disability services. He said he didn't feel like he was part of a community. He grew up not knowing who the All Blacks were and never got to listen to music. He told the inquiry a citizenship ceremony for all children raised in institutions throughout New Zealand should be held.
When people are shut away in an institution, they don't feel like a citizen. This can even feel as bad as the abuse we experienced and witnessed.
I tamaki makaurau mō te hōtaka o te ahiahi nei, ko Katie Scotcher ahau.